Well, barely 2 months ahead of the elections, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today will reply to the motion of thanks on the President's address. It is expected that the Prime Minister is likely to set the agenda for the Lok Sabha elections during his speech. The BJP has issued a 3-line whip to all its MPs to be present in the lower house when the Prime Minister speaks. But even ahead of the PM's speech, a political storm has been kicked up. While TMC mocked the Prime Minister and said that he will deliver Mann Ki Baat, the Parliament edition, Congress's Jairam, Ramesh took a jibe at the Prime Minister, saying that it will be an electoral speech where he will praise himself and defame the Congress party. Other generals of the INDI bloc also jumped in, saying that the Prime Minister should instead reply on Manipur violence, China's aggression and rising joblessness. Listen in to the attacks coming in from the opposition.
चुनावी भाषण होगा। मैं तो कुछ उम्मीद नहीं करता हूं प्रधानमंत्री से। चुनावी भाषण होगा, कांग्रेस का पूरा बदनाम करेंगे, मणिपुर पर अपना चुप्पी नहीं तोड़ेंगे, चीन के बारे में कुछ कहेंगे नहीं, जो बढ़ती हुई बेरोजगारी 45 साल में सबसे ऊंची दर पर है बेरोजगारी, उसके ऊपर कुछ बोलेंगे नहीं, महंगाई पर कुछ बोलेंगे नहीं, आर्थिक असमानताएं जो हैं, विषमताएं हैं जो बड़ी हैं उसके बारे में बोलेंगे नहीं, मोडानी के बारे में कुछ बोलेंगे नहीं, पेटीएम घोटाले के बारे में कुछ बोलेंगे नहीं, खुद अपने आप को तारीफ करते रहेंगे। मेरे तीसरे टर्म में ये करूँगा, जब मैं वापस लौटूंगा ये करूँगा, मैंने ये किया है, मैंने ये किया है, ये गुणगान गाएंगे बस।
न जाने कितने लोग मर गए मणिपुर में, न जाने कितनी महिलाओं का सड़क पर बलात्कार हुआ, कानून की धज्जियां उड़ा दी गई, एक समुदाय के लोग दूसरे को मार रहे हैं और राष्ट्रपति का अभिभाषण खामोश है उस पर। तो कम से कम प्रधानमंत्री को चाहिए कि स्थिति स्पष्ट करें, इन्हें जाना चाहिए, लोगों के आंसू पोंछना चाहिए। ऐसा आजाद भारत में कभी नहीं हुआ है, परंतु वो जा रहे हैं क्योंकि उनका भारत के संविधान के प्रति आदर का भाव नहीं।
The BJP, naturally speaking, has it out, saying that every question of the opposition will be answered by the Prime Minister. Listen in.
देखिए, राष्ट्रपति जी जब दोनों सदनों की जो सिटिंग होती है उसको जब संबोधित करती है, उस समय कांग्रेस के समय में भी ये परंपरा थी कि जो धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव आता था उस पर सारे सदस्य चर्चा करते थे और जो चर्चा में बिंदु उठते थे उन पे जवाब दिया जाता था। तो चर्चा में बिंदु उठाए हैं उन्होंने। अपोजिशन के लीडर राज्यसभा में खड़गे जी ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे सवाल किया है, तो उसका जवाब तो दिया जाएगा भाई।
Interestingly, watch how just 3 days back the Prime Minister had predicted a third term for his party. Let's quickly take a look at this sequence.
और आज मेरी दूसरी टर्म में मैं देख रहा हूं कि खासी मात्रा में प्रगति हो रही है और मुझे विश्वास है कि तीसरी टर्म में चलिए, समझदार को इशारा काफी होता है।
Let me quickly go across to my colleague Shivani joining us live with more details. Ahead of the budget session, the Prime Minister slammed the habitual disruptors. Today, he's going to be replying to the motion of thanks on the presidential address. And politics has already begun, with several demanding that his speech should solely focus on issues concerning the nation, and others saying it's going to be an electoral speech or him praising, his own deeds.
Katrine, it's quite obvious that when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be speaking today in the Lok Sabha, he will be talking about the accomplishments of his government in past 10 years. And that's very important also for him to set the agenda for the coming Lok Sabha elections. But yes, we've been hearing the speculations of the opposition party, especially the Congress party. We've heard what Jairam, Ramesh had to say today, that today when Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be speaking, he'll just speak about the achievements of his government. And it's quite obvious when Prime Minister will speak, he'll speak about what the government has achieved in past years, especially in past 10 years, because this would be his last speech before the Lok Sabha elections are announced in the parliament. So a lot of speculations happening, but yes, it would be very crucial, very important, and a very significant address by the Prime Minister when he'll be replying to the motion of thanks today in the House. And for that, we know that a whip has also been issued for the MPs of BJP in the Lok Sabha. So we all have to wait and watch for another hour to listen to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, what he says in the House today.
Like you said, it's on expected lines that, he'll present the NDA government's report card. He will set the agenda for 2024 elections, given that it's just months away and we're almost down to days on how, we're going to be witnessing campaigning. We're going to see aggressive campaigning on part of the NDA and the INDI as well. While all of that is underway, lots has happened ahead of the Prime Minister's speech as well. A multi-faith delegation interacting with the Prime Minister. Could his speech also be about, the Ram Mandir movement, the Pran Pratishtha, which was witnessed in Ayodhya, and how, his Sabka Saath message is seeing endorsement across faith?
Katrine, see, on the Pran Pratishtha occasion too, when Prime Minister was speaking, he was speaking upon the cultural nationalism, the contribution we all need to make to the country, to the service of the society. And today when he would speak, it's quite likely that he might bring out that element of unity in diversity, because he's met the religious leaders, 25 religious leaders across all faiths today in the parliament itself. And that too amid a lot of politics that's been happening before the Pran Pratishtha and after the Pran Pratishtha, the fear-mongering, the communalism narrative that's being set by the opposition parties. So he might speak about the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas element that the government has been striving, and the messages that we've been hearing in the speeches or the reactions of these religious leaders who've met the Prime Minister today in the Parliament. So there can be elaborate mention of what all achievements India has made in past few months, be it the Chandrayaan, be it the Pran Pratishtha too, because that has been a long pending dream for lakhs of people who believe in Lord Ram. And of course, many other schemes and developmental works that the government has undertaken in past few years, because this would be his speech in the budget session, in fact, days or weeks before the elections are announced. So indeed, it will be important to see what the Prime Minister has to speak today in this.
And we've seen the opposition, of course, not taking well the kind of initiatives that the Prime Minister has gone ahead with. The TMC is almost mocking his Mann Ki Baat address, which is a monthly address, and says this is going to be another Mann Ki Baat Parliament edition. So the opposition has never quite taken positively the efforts of the Prime Minister reaching out to the masses, be it through Mann Ki Baat addresses or the frequent addresses he, made to the entire country back in the times of COVID as well.
Certainly, Katrine, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has developed this mechanism to connect with the people through his Mann Ki Baat episodes that we've seen. And whenever it comes to the opposition, it has been criticizing on these efforts too. They've been mocking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's effort to get in touch with the people on that scale. And today also, apart from Jairam, Ramesh, we've also heard several other leaders from the Congress party who say that when today Prime Minister will be speaking in the Parliament, he will be just thumping his chest. He'll be coming out with new jumlas. So that's the reaction, and that's quite a natural reaction, because we've been getting these kind of statements whenever Prime Minister Narendra Modi tries to interact either through Mann Ki Baat or through these addresses in the Parliament. So today's address indeed,
okay, like I said, of course, the TMC has decided to spin its own narrative while hitting out at the Prime Minister, almost predicting what his speech is going to be all about. So let's quickly go across to Meghna, joining us with that latest reaction from TMC's Derek O'Brien. Yes, Meghna.
Absolutely, Kritzveen. Derek O'Brien, TMC MP, has put out this tweet right ahead of the Prime Minister's speech, which will be at 5 p.m. He says Prime Minister will deliver Mann Ki Baat Parliament Edition, Deep Dark Chamber Special. In 2 speeches, he will tell us first, why has Prime Minister not answered a single question in Parliament? Second, with 219 MPs, why no Deputy Lok Sabha Speaker has been appointed in the last 5 years? And third, why are opposition MPs denied their basic right, which is that of voting and discussion? targeted attacks coming in from the TMC after the Congress had questioned the Prime Minister regarding whether he is going to come out and speak about the violence in Manipur, whether he is going to be talking about rising joblessness, as the Congress calls it, and also the demand answers on Chinese aggression. Now, TMC says it is going to be Man Ki Baat Parliament edition, essentially saying it's going to be a one-way speech.
Absolutely. We're going to have to wait till 5 p.m. to find out what the Prime Minister's speech is going to be all about. But very important, given it's just months ahead of 2024 Lok Sabha elections and his last speech as the Prime Minister ahead of elections in the Parliament. Thank you for that, Meghna and Shivani. We'll keep coming back to you. All eyes on 5 p.m. in the